Welcome into the Sports Buffoons Podcast. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into the Sports Buffoons Podcast. Here once again, back at it again here at Mr. Brew's Tap House out of Overland Park, Kansas. And we are happy to be back here once again after taking a month off due to the NFL draft, which happened, approximately 3.5 weeks ago. And we are back once again at our home base here with the burger of the month right now. Rocking with the Holy Guacamole Burger with pepper jack cheese, pico de gallo, Southwest sauce, tortilla strips, and more guacamole on top.
I should have gotten that one. I got the All-American because I was just being easy, and that sounds way better.
So, guys, they have some amazing beers here, of course, as well. I don't even know. It's probably something close to 40-something beers on tap. No domestic beers, so you Bud Light drinkers out there can screw off. But we can enjoy some good IPAs and Imperial Stouts, of course. JG, what are you sipping on?
I'm going with the basics here. I go with the Dragon's Milk pretty much every time until they bring in something new.
Yeah, there you go. Very, very nice. Tanner, what are you sipping on?
Can't remember the name. It's a New England IPA, though, and it's really good.
Tanner's had so many already that you can't remember the name.
My 1.5 now.
1.5 beers. I got the Four Giants IPA. Solid stuff. I like it pretty well. I've had it before, but when you got your go-tos, you just got to keep it going back to them once again because the old reliable kicks in.
That's right.
And guys, we do have a lot to go over today. A lot of funny topics in the mold here. Obviously, we're talking about the NBA snubs, the list of the NBA first team, second team, and all third team is out right now. There's a few guys that were left off the list that we're a little disappointed by. And we also have a few topics about the NFL as well as the Kansas betting law that we're going to get into. So stick around for that one here in a few minutes.
Definitely.
Otherwise, guys, just tell me how you're doing.
Hey, Nick wants to know if they got Broken Skull.
Broken Skull, they might have it. I did not see it on the list, though. So, but I'm sure they've had it before. Our boy Tomas, the manager here, I'm sure could get that in very quickly.
So, you asked how we were doing?
Yeah, how you feeling, man?
It's a cloudy day. It's rained for the last 2 days, and we're looking at another half day at least. So, and it's windy, apparently, really windy. I'm all right.
Think you might get some naders out there?
Well, probably not. It's just not set up that way. But I am ready for the weekend because it's supposed to be sunny. It's supposed to be nice. And this guy looks to have some drinks here on the patio. Maybe
right. You're going to be mowing the lawn, Tanner. You know it.
Oh, no, I'll do that during the day. I already got that circled for Saturday morning.
All right, JG, before we kick it off with some of the rants we have to talk about regarding the snubs of the NBA, how have you been doing the past week?
I've been doing well. I love coming in here. I don't know how many times we have to tell you guys. Last Wednesday of every month, we come in here and we have amazing food, amazing beer, and just come in and join us one of these days.
Solid.
Absolutely. Always get an atmosphere up in here. With all that said, you guys, let's go ahead and jump into our snubs list. First and foremost, I want to go ahead and mention some of the guys who did make the team. All-NBA first team, rolling with Luka Doncic. Why can't I say his name? I feel like Luka Doncic. I got to work on that one.
Well done. Stick to what we did on the other day. Luka the legend.
Well, we got Devin Booker, of course, and then I'm gonna use a little Tanner line here. Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis Antetokounmpo, and then as well as Jason Tatum and Nikola the Joker. So those are your guys on the first team, of course. Second team, Ja Morant, Steph Curry, DeMar DeRozan, Kevin Durant, Joel Embiid. And then on the third team, Trae Young, Chris Paul, LeBron James, Karl Anthony Towns, and Pascal. What's that? How do you pronounce that last name?
Siakam.
Okay. Well, now that we know the rundown of the list that the NBA has put out now, go ahead, Jason. I'm going to let you kick it off for me here about your feelings towards some snubs that have happened here this NBA season.
Well, we'll just go in order here. So the most obvious one is Joel Embiid, who was like one of the front runners all season long for MVP, and he didn't even make the first team.
Who are you going to take out?
Easy.
Well, we're not there yet. Tanner. Just let's go down the list here, and I'll let you know. So he's a snub. He averaged 30, 11, and 4. You're not going to take off Luka because he averaged 28, 9, and 8. I mean, the obvious choice here, and I've heard this all day long, is that everybody knows that Jason Tatum is a second-team All-NBA guy. And make no mistake here, the forward and the guard positions do not matter. Because I heard from a voter earlier today that even though you have 3 forward and 2 guard positions, you can just go ahead and put whatever you want. You can put 5 centers on there if you want to.
You can't.
Yes, you can.
J-Bo was talking about this morning, but the whole point that you're bringing this up is correct. This is what's wrong with another part of the NBA. They finally got rid of the All-Star game of being position-based, right? We finally got that out of the way. The MVP obviously position-based. Awards aren't. But now we got to get rid of this All-NBA team position-based.
But why would you get rid of the position-based when other leagues don't do it that way either?
It's just the NBA.
I'm saying every league has position-based first team, second team, also.
Yeah, so here's your instance, right? You guys like Nikola, Joel, even Giannis out here that can play multiple. They can play guard if they needed to, for God's sakes. LeBron James does all 5 positions. Kevin Durant, all 5 positions. Position-based anymore is obsolete, essentially, in the NBA right now. There are no true positions. You can have any guy go play point guard. Steph Curry can play a combo guard. Luka out-rebounded in the Sun series, a high center.
Oh, he outdid everything for the Suns.
Correct.
So he was better at threes.
The guy could probably actually get away with at least 4 of the positions. So position-based nowadays in the NBA, it's just obsolete. And this is what's wrong here on this first team because Tatum shouldn't be in it. It should be Joel.
But even for a center position, do you think that's going to be a forgotten position if that's going to happen? And obviously, Embiid, NBA second team there. But do you think that?
Are you talking about center position as in being the guy that sits there underneath the basket and shot blocks like Shaq did?
Right. I mean, you want to have
it's long
some
gone,
fairness to it at least.
It's long gone. This is not that NBA team.
Tell it to DeAndre Ayton.
DeAndre Ayton. That's why he's sitting there without a max contract.
Well,
he's going to be a free agent with less money.
Why is his agent and he crying about it then?
That's why he's crying about it.
They need to recognize.
Because the NBA is not that kind of ball anymore. Right. It is not. You have centers out there that can sit there and shoot threes or run the court up. Right, Jason?
Well, the thing of it is that DeAndre Ayton plays the exact same way as Joel Embiid, except for one thing. He does not shoot threes.
Or defend the perimeter.
If he shot threes... if he shot threes, that's a different game.
Correct.
And then you can get the max and the super max.
Correct. But you're not going to get it if you can't do the perimeter. Period. If you can't shoot. So that's the issue with this All-NBA team.
All right.
Is there's not it's position based and it shouldn't be.
So moving on, let's talk about LeBron James because I know a lot of people were up in arms about him
I'm fine with
only being on the third team. But in terms of the money thing, as long as you're All NBA, you can still get a max deal or whatever. But LeBron was left off of the second team in favor of Kevin Durant. And when I look at the amount of games played and their stats, they were very, very close. And so I don't know if you could make a correct decision here. The only difference is that LeBron James played one more game than Kevin Durant, and he averaged one more rebound. Now, on the other side of things, the Brooklyn Nets, as much of a dumpster fire as they were, they made the playoffs. Yeah. And you can't say that about LA. So, it's kind of like, LeBron's got slightly better numbers, but didn't make the playoffs. And so, to me, those two guys are interchangeable. They could have gone either way. Like, I'm not upset that Durant made it on the second team. But there's people out there that think LeBron is God or whatever. They're just going to have to get over it.
I'm okay with LBJ being on the third. I think KD should be on the third, and based off of not being positioned, I think Trae Young should have been on the second team.
Really? Yeah, actually, I do agree with that.
Because he did score the most points in the NBA.
Right. So then I have a question about that then, because obviously we see Chris Paul there on the third team along with Trae Young. Chris Paul led the league in assists per game. But here's the thing. Why are we valuing assists per game so much when he only averaged 14 points per game and was not a well-rounded player this past season? He was more of a distributor.
Because he still plays position basketball.
Position? Wait. That makes you all of a sudden deserve to be NBA all-team?
No, I'm just saying that he still does it. He leads in assists, obviously.
And without Chris Paul, the Suns did fine.
That's why he's 13, though.
When Chris Paul was injured this past season, Devin Booker ran the show and did everything was just fine.
So I would have been fine with Chris Paul not making it at all.
So who would you put in place of Chris Paul then? We're talking about snubs here. I mean, who should have been in this list?
Well, here's the thing about CP3. So CP3 is a big name. Why is he a big name? Is because his nickname is the point god. So if you have that as your nickname, if you're a voter, you're like, oh my gosh, I have to put him on. I don't care about the numbers. My gosh, they're the number one seed. Meanwhile, you've got guys like Brandon Ingram and Jimmy Butler who had really good seasons. And if I had to,
you'd want to replace Chris Paul with one of those two guys, then, right?
Yeah, CP3 would be the first guy to come off the list.
Yep.
I don't know if I would take anyone else. And as far as who I would put on, it's got to be Brandon Ingram ahead of Jimmy Butler because let's just be real.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler does not care. He's a winner. And winners only give a shit about the playoffs. So Brandon Ingram had a much better regular season, and we all know that these are regular season awards,
Correct.
right, Tanner? So I'd put Brandon Ingram on and take CP3 off.
What about, so does this hurt him? Kyrie Irving not playing this many games, obviously due to the whole shot fiasco. Does that hurt him not being on the third team?
I mean, with Kyrie Irving, nobody takes that guy seriously.
Never.
I mean, he just, that was never, I never viewed them as a team after the regular season.
They're a bunch of individuals. Is what
we already knew the
problem
Nets
is
were. That's
with
why
the
they
Nets.
lost in the first round.
The Nets have never been a team. It's been a bunch of names and individuals.
But
so that's the problem.
Kyrie, when he was there, he was effective for the Nets throughout all year.
Right, but what did he play, like 30 games?
Yeah.
25? I mean,
That's that.
you have to meet a certain threshold,
Right.
and I think it's
Exactly.
probably right in that 50 to 55 range where LeBron and Kevin Durant were. If you're not even going to play 50 games, then I don't think you should be in the discussion.
Right, because
That sounds fair.
Unfortunately, the reason for being him not on the team sucks, but availability is also very important. And if you didn't play enough games, then you shouldn't be considered at all to be one of the All-Stars of the NBA.
No, that's fair. That's fair to me.
So, anyways, guys, otherwise, are we happy with at least what we see out of the top five as far as first team All-Pro?
I can be okay with it. I mean, I agreed. I still think Joel should have been top 5. But I'm not hating against Tatum by any means. So
Yeah, Tatum's off the list, and I know we've got some conflicting reports here. You got your information from Jay Will. My question to you is, Jay Will an actual voter? We know he's a former NBA player, but I don't know if he actually has a vote.
no,
And I've heard from
I don't think he is.
I've heard from actual voters that
I heard it was position based. That
it
was
is.
the big argument.
When
this
they
morning.
put the form in front of you, it's got 3 forwards, 2 guards. But I was told that you can write whoever you want in there.
So, all right. So, real quick on that, Joel Embiid got voted for 2 different spots: his forward spot, and I think he also got voted for the center. So, due to the fact that he didn't have enough combined votes, he did not combine. He had not enough votes in either spot. That's why he went second team. I think if somebody would just let them combine votes, he probably would have made the first team list.
Right.
Yep. I got you guys. I hear you.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, at the end of the day, when it comes to award shows, when it comes to Pro Bowls and All-Star voting and this and that, you got a bunch of guys involved in the media making decisions on these kind of things.
Unfortunately.
And there's a lot of bias that goes around.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people, same with the Hall of Fame. There's a lot of bias involved with the Hall of Fame. So it's how you're perceived around your peers, I would say, more so than what you're actual on the court or on the field.
Yeah. All you got to do is take off a couple of those guys, and you won't see first team.
Roy here, by the way, says the league is positionless. The awards need to all be the same. So that's what Tanner was saying. So now I do have a question then. So me being more of an NFL football guy and you guys more of NBA guys, obviously when it comes to the NFL, you guys see a difference in why those should be separated, right?
Correct. Yeah, because you can't have a running back
When you
or a
have
wide
a-
receiver play quarterback.
Right. So when you have a quarterback-driven league, obviously, it's like, quarterbacks will always be the most valuable position on the field. And so at that point, it's like, okay, you're loaded, your all NFL, all pro will be just literally 15 quarterbacks.
Yeah,
And
you
so-
can't. Yeah, you can't. You gotta. I don't know. It's
Okay.
NFL's just way different. It's a way
Okay.
different sport.
Okay. But you think baseball could be all the same, though? Like NBA?
No, I think baseball can be different too.
Really?
Yep.
See, that's an interesting
you
debate.
can't. You can't position players pitch. Can't position players pitch really and be effective.
But, I mean, you could take a third baseman and compare him the same as an outfielder,
Yeah,
I would say.
no,
and
that's
be able
fine.
to rate them accordingly.
If
on
we're talking
your All-Star
hitters,
voting. Yeah.
sure. But if we're talking between actual, fielders versus pitchers, you're not really. There's nothing to tell.
That's different. I understand that for sure. So,
That's what I'm thinking.
All right, guys. Well, let's jump into something kind of fun here for just a few moments. So obviously, the NFL is now looking to do away with the Pro Bowl. So I hope that happens because I've been begging for this to happen for years, as a matter of fact. And I've been saying for a long time, guys, just get rid of the Pro Bowl, just make it purely a skills competition, give them all a free vacation, let them do whatever the hell they want in their hotel rooms. God knows what that kind of things entail with a bunch of guys with a lot of money. With all that said, I was like putting together kind of a list in my head of what we should be watching on TV, NFL players for the Pro Bowl doing, because we all know the Pro Bowl is kind of a joke of an award show anyway, more so than All Pro. So I'm going to go ahead and start a countdown here. I'm going to say one of mine, and then Jason, I want you to go, and Tanner, you to go. We have 10 to go down on the list. So let's go ahead and start with our number 10. Gosh, that was an awful take. Jason, do you want to
You got to let Jason do it, but he has a cold.
Number 10.
There it is. Number 10. There you go.
Only allergy.
All right. First things first for this, I'm going to say we should be watching the NFL players from the Pro Bowl do a beer chugging competition live on ESPN. I would love to watch that. And I have a question for you guys. If we were to watch that, who do you think would win?
I mean, that's easy. That's Tom Brady all day
baby.
long.
Tom Brady would win the beer chugging competition. He's the GOAT of all sports and beer chugging.
It wouldn't even be a fair fight.
I might go to a lineman.
Baccarati? Is that the Packers?
Bakhtiari? The tackle from the Packers?
Yes.
Yeah, David Bakhtiari.
Yeah, he's probably proven it like 3 times. I think that guy would cream Tom Brady.
Is he one of those guys like you just take the glasses, pour it like this, and it's all down in the system?
No. He actually drinks it.
Because Tom chugs a fast pint.
He's done it twice at Milwaukee Bucks games. So he's out there because they made fun of Aaron Rodgers the first time around because Aaron Rodgers chugged it, and then Baccarati got it.
Who would win between Travis Kelce and George Kittle?
George Kittle.
That's a toss-up.
I think I'm going to go Kittle on this one.
That's an even money bet.
I think Kittle beats Kelce in beer chugging. So, anyways, guys, that'd be fun to watch. The tight ends go at it, the quarterbacks could battle one-on-one, whatever. But Jason, go ahead.
I'm going to go with the either slam dunk contest and or a 3-point contest, just like they do at NBA All-Star Weekend. So, obviously, we love the NBA on this show. I think it'd probably be hilarious to see a lot of those guys get out there and try to shoot threes behind that 3-point line. And then, some of them probably, a lot of those kickers probably can't even touch the rim.
Who would be underrated in that would be running backs because those guys have so much explosion off the legs. Even though they're short in stature, I mean, those guys have so much bounce on their legs that they would just be slamming things down. You like a 5'8", like Clyde Edwards-Helaire out there slamming the ball. That'd be amazing.
I mean, heck, even a Tyreek Hill, right?
Oh,
such a short guy.
Well, Tyreek can dunk. We all know that.
Well, that's how he got hurt at the final game of the season.
Right. So, just because Jason forgot, number 8.
Number 8. Oh, sorry.
That's you, Tanner. That's your trade.
Sorry. I was in the zone. Do a Madden tournament.
Okay.
On their with the respective decision.
Watch them do a Madden tournament. Okay. Well, but they kind of did it already, obviously, at NFL Network every once in a while. So it'd be cool still to watch it, though. We had a guy out here at the window didn't know how to get in, I guess, to the bar.
Yeah, I was trying to help him.
Well, good job, Tanner.
I think a Madden tournament would be cool, but like QBs face each other, receivers face each other, running backs, etc. I think if you have it that way, then you could have it on so many different channels and stream connections too. Like it's a major TV deal.
With the way people like to watch other people play video games, I guess I could see that being fun to watch more so than the actual Pro Bowl. So that makes sense to me for sure. I'm going to go here. Number 7 on the list. I would say have players over 30 years old run the 40-yard dash again to update their numbers from the combine. So I've always had the curiosity, you guys, as players age, are some guys getting faster, some getting slower? I'd say take the guys that are in their 30s and make them run the 40 one more time, and that way we now have an updated stat of what they ran when they were 21 and what they ran when they're 31 and see the difference in how their bodies have declined. So
that'd be interesting to see.
Number 6. I'm going to go with a drunk beanbag toss. We all know how fun it is when we all get out and play beanbag toss while we're hammered. Why not do that with the NFL players? Because we all know that they're amazing athletes, but how good is their precision? Can they really make it go in the hole? That's what she said.
Ooh, that kind of reminds me of dodgeball. I think dodgeball would be fun too. That's my little X factor in there. dodgeball with NFL players. I'd watch that all day. All right.
I could do that.
What number are we on? We're in
Number 5?
Number 5.
There you go.
Number 5, guys. Have a flip-flop game. Defense plays offense. Offense plays defense.
Son of a. Okay.
Have a flip-flop game.
All right.
You stole one of mine, so I'm glad I stole one of yours. So.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I had that on my list as well. Something basically the exact same thing. So, all good. All right, let's get on to number 4 here. I have them all compete in a home run derby. Just have them. Do they have still some more? I think it'd be fun to have them just play a different sport.
It's like Mike and I are thinking the same damn things.
Yeah, have them just play a different sport. I think that's the fun part of B is just having them do different things. See how much of an athlete they really are doing different things.
Yeah. No, I agree. That's what I was thinking too.
All right.
Number 3. I'm going to go with something here that would be very, very entertaining that has a 0% chance of ever happening. I'm going to go with cockfighting. So I would like to see each player bring their own rooster to the damn cockfight, and they can all bet on it or whatever, and just to see who wins. I think it'd be very entertaining. Don't think that I forgot about what Michael Vick did back in the day with his dog fighting and his cockfighting, but you never know. Maybe Michael Vick could actually be a supplier to an event like this. Outside of that, I mean, I think my biggest problem with my own idea is the fact that I think the South Carolina Gamecocks need to change their name because it is very, very offensive. I've heard a lot of animal rights groups out there complaining about that name, and I have a big problem with it. And so I think we've been watching this in sports we've been watching this for decades. Back in the day, I used to like the Washington Bullets, and they changed their name. It's not like, the Bullets, that's completely different than like the Cleveland Indians or something like that. Cleveland Guardians, Washington Commodes. I don't care what you want to throw out there, but I think if they can change the name of the Washington Bullets, you should at least be able to change the name of the South Carolina Gamecocks. The problem is that you're in South Carolina. That's never going to happen because of the politics down there, but I say somebody needs to get on this right away because I want them to change that name pronto. Very offensive, the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I mean, I think it's the word game is probably the most offensive part to me, just because you're
it means that's what it means. That it means cockfighting, and you just had an NFL player 15 years ago.
It's wild game, which means wild cock. So we need to make sure we're avoiding.
At any rate, the bottom line is that it would be very entertaining to watch the players bring in their own cocks.
Okay.
Chris Jones.
Alrighty then. Tanner, go ahead for number 2.
So it's kind of interesting throughout the season, right? We see a lot of, fights and grudges being held. Let's have a UFC event going on between those guys that could not stop fighting each other, right?
Sure. I mean, the NFL would never allow that, Tanner, because we don't want to have broken bones during the offseason. So
we're talking about wild stuff here. So I think UFC would be some kind of UFC fighting between guys that did not get along and did not end up reconciling later. So
sure, we could see Michael Crabtree and Richard Sherman. All those good stuff.
Andre Johnson and
Andre and who's the Titans cornerback he had a big fight with.
Oh my Lord.
It's been a while since he's been around, I guess, in the league.
Yeah, you could have Ndamukong Suh and all the players that he ever stomped on over the years.
Or we could just have everyone just team up and get a
Cortland Finnegan. Cortland Finnegan?
Yeah, that's right. Andre Johnson, Cortland Finnegan fight would be nice. I thought they actually did have a fight at one point. Maybe,
did they?
I thought they actually.
Well, I know they went at it on the field multiple times.
I thought one of them at least got involved in fighting or boxing. One of the
I don't know. But I'm not sure.
And then number 1 for me.
Number 1.
And I'm not saying this is actually the best idea because I think beer chugging is probably the best idea. I'm going to say they should all go drag racing in honor of what we see in golf coming up here with Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady
and Josh Allen
and their golfing competition. I figure why not have them in a stock car of some kind and have them go drag racing? And I think that would be fun to watch. Watch the speedster of Tyreek Hill go off against another top end wide receiver like Devontae Adams and have them literally race in cars. I think that'd be cool.
What would be the max speed on those cars so that they don't get injured? Have to be like 20 miles an hour?
The engine doesn't blow up. I mean, you're hoping 20 miles an hour. Yeah, I don't know about that, but
the NFL wouldn't approve that unless they're going really slow.
We're hoping more towards like the 150 range.
Hey, nice. You can make it like a Mario Kart kind of thing, right? Have balloons in the back, 3 balloons, and whoever gets past the most balloon, ends the other person, that person's out. So
okay, yeah, Mario Kart.
Mario Kart deal. All right. In all seriousness, though, what should they do in place of the Pro Bowl game?
Just the skills competition is fine. Honestly, I just don't want to see the game anymore.
Okay.
I'm tired of seeing the game.
But
I did watch it this past year, and it sucked.
But
like
last
always.
year's skills competition was awful. I hated every minute of it.
Sure, it's not exactly like TV you want to, because it happens over the course of a few days. You know what I mean? So it's not a thing where it's like you want to sit down for 3 hours and watch a skills competition because they do that over the course of the week.
Catching competitions that were not very good, and then
all the guys don't take any,
40.
Here's the problem. All the guys at the Pro Bowl are there just to have fun, and they don't take anything seriously, which is totally fine. They deserve it, right? So they should be doing some kind of activity that also means you can put no effort into it, like a beer chugging. So that's
or a 3-point contest.
3-point contest is fine.
They should have an event, but my gosh, do away with the Pro Bowl altogether because all these guys are trying to go half speed, if that.
Yeah.
And what happens is a lot of times if you're not playing normal game speed, you're actually more likely to get a non-contact injury.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
All right. So, anyways, you guys, we just wanted to have a little fun there and give you guys our countdown of the best ideas for the NFL Pro Bowl going forward. So, next up on our lists, guys. So, obviously, we've now seen the Kansas law has now passed that sports betting will now be allowed over here on this side of the state line. And so that got me kind of thinking a little bit. Now, I've done some betting here and there online. I've used Bovada. I've used a couple other apps. Or maybe when I go to places that already have it legalized, like in Colorado, I've gotten on my DraftKings app and things like that and put some bets in place. And so us out here July 1st will finally have full access to place our first legal sports bet here in Kansas. And so even though sports books will not be open yet necessarily, the apps will then hopefully be active and, allow for people here on this side of the state line to make their bets. So with that said, football season is right around the corner. And I started thinking to myself, what would be the first bet I'm going to legally make once that bill has been passed and now is in effect July 1st. So Tanner, go ahead and let me know what you think you would be placing your first bet on.
Well, the first thing I'm going to do actually is play FanDuel. But I'm going to probably wait till football season. So my first bet is probably going to be that the Baylor Bears win the Big 12 of this next basketball season.
Okay, I wonder what kind of odds that would look like right now.
I don't know. I could probably find it, though.
So you're doing a very much of a futures bet.
Correct.
Basically on that one because, you won't get paid for quite a while, Tanner. You're going to put down $1,000 on this? I mean, what are you looking like?
Yeah, I'm putting down $1,000. So that's what I got.
Throw down $1,000 on Baylor to win the Big 12 over KU.
Over KU.
Okay, that's a surprising one to me. I wouldn't go that route at all. But I'm sure there's odds out there for it. I checked some odds today, as a matter of fact, and I found my favorite stat. And this is also kind of a futures stat to bet on, but I love it. And my first legal sports bet is going to be Breece Hall over under 5.5 rushing touchdowns for the 2022 season. And that's obviously the rookie that was drafted from Iowa State. And I'm a big fan of Breece Hall, and I think that he's going to fit in very, very well. And that's not a great offense by any means, but they're adding weapons. They've definitely done a good job of at least trying to get that team to where they can maybe win 5 or 6 games this year.
Yeah.
Breece Hall just had 20 touchdowns and 21 touchdowns the last 2 years in college combined. And so for me, I'm looking at this and I'm like, guys, whenever you're in the red zone, why would you put the ball in Zach Wilson's hands when you can hand it off to Breece Hall, who's 6'1", 220 pounds, and will pound that thing up the middle? I love the over on this. I love the over on Breece Hall.
Unless they get Debo. If
they
get
get
Debo,
Debo,
then you wouldn't want to make that bet.
I would challenge you to James Cook possibly be in the running for that from the Bills.
James Cook for the over-under?
No, just I guess for the over-under.
Of rushing touchdowns?
Yep.
Well, so who do you think has more rushing touchdowns between the two? Because I'll happily take Breece Hall on this. On an offense that needs somebody to pound the rock and give Zach Wilson more time to be able to sit back in the pocket through play action passes and so on, I love Brees Hall.
I think Brees Hall is the
300
upside.
touches.
I think James Cook comes away with it.
I like James Cook more as a receiving back personally. That's the way I envision him.
That's fair too.
I just think Hall's a better all-around, well-rounded back that can be used literally 300 touches over the course of the season.
That's gonna be interesting though. Come this year, I'll have to remember that.
I'll put $1,000 on that. 5.5 over 5.5 for that $1,000 on Brees Hall. So Jason, what do you got?
Well, July is a very boring month in terms of sports, and I was going to try to keep it with events that were actually going on in July.
Right.
So I kept it simple. I'm going to bet 2 bets here. I'm going to go $500 on Novak Djokovic to win Wimbledon in tennis because he's plus 140. He's the favorite. You can't ever go wrong with betting on a multiple-time champion. The other one I would think about doing is only betting maybe like $100 on Jordan Spieth to win the Open Championship because he's plus 1,600, and he's kind of gone through a little bit of a drought as far as major championships are concerned. So I think it's a solid bet, plus 1,600 for Jordan Spieth. But in all honesty, if you really want to know what I'm going to be doing, it's more likely that I'll just be betting on player or banker on July 1st.
Player and banker. I mean, honestly, that's probably the safest way to go. That's probably the most sure thing way to go when it comes to betting in general, Jason.
Yeah, if you guys don't know what we're talking about, it's a game called Baccarat.
Oh, man.
Well, I thought you said on the show recently that you stopped gambling, and you were kind of getting over that.
It's the show before.
I'm not a big sports gambler, but we didn't do too much gambling while we were down there. We only played for like 3 or 4 hours, so it's not.
You said the
not
dance
a lot.
hall, dude.
Some people sit there all day. We were only there for like 3 hours.
Pool bar and dance hall, dude. That's all you got.
All right, look, you can make your money in 3 hours and get up and leave. Take your money and run is what they say. You know
That's
what I mean?
good.
So, all right, guys, let's move it right along here. I now want to bring up something that we've now noticed throughout the NBA playoffs. Obviously, the Warriors have been whooping up on the Mavs. Mavs did get a win here last night, and it was very convincing fashion. Now, the Warriors did almost come back in that game for a moment, which was quite entertaining to see. But obviously, the Mavs are where they are for good reason. I mean, we saw Luka come out here this postseason and have a dominant stretch, and he destroyed the Suns, literally beat the Suns in every category. And we're looking at this guy. He's on the cover of NBA 2K. I mean, he's obviously the NBA, poster child at the moment for what they want to see in the future. They want him to be successful in this league. And so with him being successful in this league, I don't know that the current team he has around him is enough to get everything done and to finish it off next year and the year after that, because they want to see him win a title here in the next 2 to 3 years. I guarantee you that. They would love that. And he's got potential to do it. He's only 23 years old, you guys. So with that said, I do want to ask you guys the question of what piece in the NBA would be the best fit to add to Luka, add to the Mavs, obviously, and to get them over the top. And Jason, I want to hear from you first.
Well, most importantly, I want to be clear here. We are not doing away with Jalen Brunson because he is an up-and-coming star in the league. And so that's a guy that if I'm the Mavericks front office, I need him to stay long-term. But as far as, looking around the rest of the league, a few guys came to my mind. The first one was DeMar DeRozan. And the main reason he's a good fit for Luka is because Luka is very ball dominant. So you need a guy he's going to be able to come off screens, okay, that's not necessarily going to be ball dominant, but also a guy that when Luka's out of the game or injured or what have you, a guy that could take over the game. Now, DeMar DeRozan doesn't shoot threes, but with that current roster, I don't think you would need him to shoot threes. You just need another guy to give Luka some help. The other guy that came to mind was Kawhi Leonard. And we all know he's injury prone. We don't even know if he's ever going to play a game for the rest of his life. But as far as the fit is concerned, I like the fit with him because he's also another guy very capable of playing off the ball, great fundamentals, but can also take over the game and shoot three-pointers, which you could in today's NBA, you can never get enough three-point shooters. So Kawhi was second, and then my last one was DeAndre Ayton, who may actually be available. And the main reason for that was, and this might be the most likely that could happen. The reason why the Mavericks are getting destroyed in this series against the Warriors is because they have no rim protection whatsoever. So a guy like DeAndre Ayton, not only could he give you that rim protection, but he can also roll in and be an 18 and 10 or a 20 and 10 guy. So those are my three guys.
I like this.
I would actually, I know this is a little off topic for a moment, but you guys being more the NBA knowledge guys around here, me being a Suns fan, I look at this and I'm desperate for help in my own way because as a fan of the Suns and seeing Booker and Ayton's probably going to stick around most likely, I'm assuming. I want to know what it's going to take for the Suns to get back over the edge again because CP3 is going to be 38 next year, and I mean he's already not been great anyway in recent memory towards his playoff career anyway. So to me, it's like, what are they going to need to do? What are they going to need to add to? I mean, is it a similar situation where if I'm sitting here and I'm talking about Luka, what's going to take for him to get over the top? Am I looking at that for Devin Booker too?
Oh, yeah.
And maybe you need a similar type of player to step in for that other role?
Yeah.
I think the number one thing that needs to happen is Devin Booker runs the offense because they're stuck with CP3 for at least one more year. And it's fine if you want to make him a starter, but at age 39 or wherever the hell he's going to be, you will have to cut his minutes down to like 20 to 25 minutes a game. So if you want him as a starter, great. They're going to have to manage his minutes, but I want Devin Booker running the offense as a point guard. Now, if you let DeAndre Ayton walk or if you bring him back, that's another whole story. But I would try to make a move to get some more 3-and-D guys in there, guys who you can depend on, not guys like Mikal Bridges and Jay Crowder. They're not guys that you can depend on to make their threes. They play great defense, but you can't depend on them night in and night out. And so that's where I would go. I would say, Devin Booker, this is now your offense. You're going to run the point most of the time, and then get me some more wings. I want some wings in there that can actually make their threes.
Yeah, Bridges is frustrating just because I don't see him do much on offense at all, really. And it's unfortunate because the guy has long arms. He is athletic, and he's more just a defensive guy. And Crowder is very hot and cold, where you never know what you're going to get, and he's also going to be a year older. So it's one of those deals where it's like, hey, this team, as young as they may seem on paper, they're actually not that young at all. They're actually a team that has some guys that are a little over the hill.
Yeah, and for the Suns, too, I would probably look at guys like maybe Paul George coming into play because he has been linked to being moved from the Clippers this offseason. So,
will he replace Chris Paul then, in your mind?
He wouldn't replace – Chris Paul's not going anywhere.
Yeah,
I don't like hearing those words. It sucks.
Chris Paul is going zero. But in order if you had a guy like Paul George come in, well, guess what? Now you actually have support for Booker and be able to help with that minutes deal with Chris Paul. So I think Paul George would be a great fit for the Suns.
I mean, I do like that better. I mean, if they are trying to get rid of him, I think that's a great fit for the Suns as well. I mean, Kawhi Leonard, I mean, he probably needs to go somewhere because the guy can't even get on the court. But, Paul George, he's aging a little bit. So I would have a little bit of an issue with them bringing him in. But at least in the short term, next 1 to 2 years, he's a lockdown defender and he makes his threes.
Yep. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing how that plans out. And we will be talking about the NBA draft for at least a week or two, I would say. Some guys we look forward to watching. Scottie Pippen Jr. is in the draft, by the way, Jason. So that'll be a guy to see how
it's not going very high. So, we can talk about it. No, he's in there, but he's not going very high. But we can talk about it.
Is this like Barry Sanders Jr. when he was going to go pro and that didn't really work out?
Pretty similar.
I mean, you've got Gary Payton II on the Warriors, and he's a really, really good player. I'm not sure I know if his ceiling is as high as his dad's.
It took him a while to develop too. So.
Yeah, he's a really good player, but I mean, a lot of these Suns, everybody thinks it's going to be like Ken Griffey Jr. and it's not.
Yeah,
gotcha.
So my Mavericks support help, you could call it, right? So I'm thinking Minnesota pulls their whole, hey, cool, we made the playoffs. Now we're going to trade away some pieces. I could see Karl Anthony Towns being there to support Luka going into play next year. Other guys I could see too is Ayton, but I could see a free agent also pair with them. Maybe a Colin Sexton, maybe a Bruce Brown for some defense. He did play really well for the Brooklyn Nets on that part. So those were a couple of guys I was thinking wise that could help Luka out.
I mean, when you think about the Mavs right now and what they did to the Suns even in that series, they were just destroying them from the perimeter.
Yeah.
And whenever they face teams more like the Warriors, you want to win inside a little bit more because it's going to be hard to compete with the Warriors shot for shot from the perimeter with the kind of talent that they have. So for me, it's like the Mavs are probably failing in this series because of not having a great big man inside.
Yeah.
And so I think a guy like Karl Anthony Towns would be a great addition to that team. I agree with that.
Because he can play the outside as well.
Right. So that's the thing about versatility, and we're talking about Ayton, all the time now, and Anthony Towns can do everything for that. And I think that would be huge to help Luka as well, to having confidence to you don't got to be the hero every time. You can pass it inside and make things happen too.
Let me give you two guys, Jason. Two guys I want your thoughts on that could go to the Mavericks if they decide it's time. It's time for a change. Lillard, Dame time.
Well,
yeah or nay?
You'd have to move Spencer Dinwiddie. I don't think you need that many guys in the backcourt. I mean, if they could afford all three, I guess you could. But again, Luka is so young. I don't know if you want to bring in an older guy like Dame Lillard. He's in his early 30s. And I know most people don't realize that he's that old, but you're building for the future and the future of Luka. I don't know if I would bring him in.
Okay, my other guy, thinking that might look for a change here in the next couple of years, Trae Young. Younger guy.
Again, he's going to be very expensive. He's younger. So then, yeah, I mean, I guess you could make that work. I wouldn't mind it. I mean, if you had him and Brunson running that backcourt, that'd be fine. But again, I mean, in this Golden State series, you've got to get rim protection. I liked your first idea about Karl Anthony Towns because
I think we all agree with that.
He's basically the same thing as bringing in Ayton, except that he shoots threes and he
can play the perimeter.
Big time shot blocker.
Here's the thing: I'm thinking about that max contract that Ayton wants. So like he's not even in the obviously the All Pro of the NBA. In the top three, not even first, second, or third. So at what point, like, what's the threshold there? Does he just believe he's deserving of that because he was the first overall pick?
He's a first overall pick. He was a star with Arizona. Then he went to the Suns, and he played really well the last couple of years. But, I mean, it's just probably
like, where is this coming from?
It's just confidence, dude. It's just confidence from him.
Right, so it's an overdriven ego because obviously he's had now fights with Monty Williams as well, and disagreements at least.
It's time for a change.
And something's going wrong there. And if I'm the Suns, as much as I do like DeAndre Ayton, and I like he's young as well too still, I would move on from him.
Yeah, you knew it's hiring, Jason.
So what I'm saying is Ayton could go. Ayton could go to the Mavs. If the
Knicks are hiring.
Or if the Mavs are interested in paying, I guess I would send him over to the Mavs and try to get something out of him, I guess.
Right, and to your point about the Knicks, that there are many, many teams who would love to bring in DeAndre Ayton and pay him the max. Now, he's never going to get the super max because you got to be all NBA. But there are a plethora of teams that would give him that max contract, and quite frankly, I don't know if the Suns really want to go there.
Suns don't.
Yeah, if they do that, they're really putting themselves in a corner to where everything better go perfect from here on out. Because they're not going to have financially the ability to move around and do things that they need to do to help Booker to propel. Because Booker is going to be a phenomenal player in this league for a long time. That's a fact. Now, Ayton, I could see that guy losing some of his luster, I would say, at the time, and some of his pizzazz, some of his confidence over time, and he might be a good young man, but as he ages, is he going to still be good as he gets older and have that drive to want to be one of the greats? Because to me, it's I just don't know if I see it. I think I see a guy right now who thinks he has it all figured out, and he doesn't.
Yeah, the sad part about Ayton is that if you threw him into the 90s or even the 2000s, early 2000s,
he's over.
I mean, he's a max player automatically. Because you need big bodied guys that can play defense
block shot and
be double guys like that.
Well, then how come Luka out-rebounded Ayton in the series?
Because Ayton was pulled away. He was pulled away out to the perimeter, and he doesn't know how to play. He doesn't know how to recover from that.
Ayton is a very soft big man. That's all I can really say
about that. If he can't play down low 90% of the time, and he gets pulled away at the perimeter, all you got to do is have your guy go out to the perimeter, and it's done. He can't recover coming back.
Right. So, anyways, you guys, all right, my guy to help out Luka, to get him to the next level, to get him to the finals, to help him beat the Warriors, is going to be Donovan Mitchell added to that team. And I love the drive and the youth right there. And I think it would be offensively, it would be nasty to see those two together.
I thought about him for the Suns move too.
Oh, I would love that for the Suns. Oh my god,
Donovan's been on my mind because I've been feeling that even if Rudy Gobert goes somewhere, I think Donovan in the end does go somewhere else as well.
He might, but at the same time, it'd be hard to get rid of him. I mean, you're sitting there. It's like, why would I let this guy go? I mean, he's got everything you want.
That's the issue, though, right now with the Jazz. Is they're like, oh, we've tried for 3-4 years. Time to blow it up and get rid of people.
If they want to blow it up, then hell yeah. I mean, let's start talking money then.
They're going to be talking draft picks.
I'll happily remove Ayton from the Suns if that means Donovan Mitchell comes to.
You got to give him a couple draft picks.
That's fine. Look, we can work this out.
I would take Donovan Mitchell on either the Suns or the Mavs. I think that'd be a great fit for both teams. And obviously, I don't know if you guys have heard this, but he basically wants out of Utah. Like he's fed up with the whole thing. Done. So,
well, so you're saying he could be on the move this offseason?
I still.
Oh, the Knicks want him bad.
Yeah, I still think Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell leave the Jazz this summer.
And even Quinn Snyder might be leaving.
Quinn Snyder is going to be gone. I think he's already gone. So.
Well, we'll see.
Regardless of the Lakers or not.
We'll see how that one goes. Well, what else is on your mind, you guys? We have a few more minutes left if you guys wanted to say anything else. Otherwise, we're going to enjoy our beer here at Mr. Brew's Tap House and do our thing.
I'm just excited to start some NFL talk here in a month. So, actually, it's not even June yet.
Right. You guys know me. Like that's my main thing. The main thing I care about. Basically, whenever June rolls around, in my mind goes straight to this is the last month before we get to football. Because I look at July, obviously, starting training camp. And at that point, it's like, okay, football's right around the corner. June, it's like, just get through this. And then we're there. We're there. Where football's officially underway again. And that's what I want the most right now is just fantasy football, training camp talk. Justin Ross of the Chiefs obviously had another good catch today. I don't know if you saw that, Tanner. It was a one-hander going down low by the knees, making a snag right there. So, we're hoping that he pans out, and we will be up there, of course, in training camp in St. Joe this coming season. As always, we go out there every single year.
We'll let you guys know what date time we got going on.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I got to make a trip up to Iowa for a concert in like August 6th, so we've just worked around that, but we'll figure it out.
So, real quick, while we have a couple minutes, have you guys checked out any of the NBA draft stuff yet?
Well, Jason, that's up to you, man. You're the NBA guy.
It's too early.
Too early? So, I'm going to just give my view here. There's two guys that could go number one. Chet Holmgren from Gonzaga, the 7 foot. The guy can play outside, inside, but he's 196 at 7 foot. Too skinny, I think. The other guy is forward Jabari Smith Jr. from Auburn. He's a freshman. He was a baller. He was the reason Auburn was in that one spot for so long. Everybody's talking about it's kind of a mixed bag between him going to the number one pick to Orlando versus Oakland. I think Jabari Smith going to Orlando is the right move at number one, and I think Chet Holmgren going to Oklahoma City Thunder, having the Twin Towers combo there, could be the best move for Gonzaga or for Oklahoma City Thunder to get Chet Holmgren.
I wouldn't worry too much about Chet Holmgren's frame. I could see him easily going number one overall. I mean, yeah, he needs to put on some weight, but so does Kevin Durant, and look how that panned out. So
all I know is Scottie Pippen in the second.
That's all you know.
That's all I know. Scottie Pippen.
Well, he's got a lot to live up to because his dad is actually a top 50 player of all time.
I can tell you right now that Scottie Pippen Jr., I have not seen him in the mock draft once. Any of the mock drafts I've seen.
I like second generation guys, so I'm hoping that it can work out. Who knows?
I'm excited to start talking about this draft thing too. So, but I'll save that for another day.
Yep. All right, Jason, do you have any final thoughts?
No, I just appreciate you guys joining us today, as always, and make sure to check us out next time at Mr. Brews.
Yeah, be here, Overland Park, Kansas. Last Wednesday of every month is the plan. So if we do switch it up on you guys, we'll let you know. But, we have some talks with some other friends around town that we might be joining in there every once in a while as well. So we'll see how things go. So anyways, you guys, hope you guys enjoyed my Brian Cook music video I put out here last night.
Music video.
Reddit seemed to love it. YouTube seemed to enjoy it as well. A lot of good comments, and I'll keep those guys coming right there for you. And I figure I'll do a video probably every 3 weeks or a month or so.
That's right. Every month.
Something like that. So that'll be fun to work on. So with all that said, you guys, I will see you all on the next one.
Sports Buffoons out.
See you guys.